It certainly is a peculiar time we're living in just now. So many of our routine activities have been canceled or postponed or moved online that we have lots more free and unstructured time. And while we may be looking forward to things getting back to normal, there's probably not one of us who hasn't wondered what normal will look like. And most of us have given at least some thought to what we would like for it to look like and what we might want to do differently. Asking ourselves whether or not we might have learned something or profited in some way from these extraordinary times. For my part, I've been more aware these last couple of months of not rushing from one thing to another. And I'd like to retain that sense of calm. Esther Duvall, who has written widely on Benedictine and Celtic spirituality, quotes a traditional saying of ancient wisdom: "A threshold is a sacred thing." And then she goes on to tell of her experience in visiting Japan, where it's the custom to remove one's shoes before entering another's home. I experienced that same custom when I lived with my daughter's family in Hawaii. You wouldn't dream of going into someone's home without first removing your shoes. There, of course, was a practical reason. You didn't want to track the red dirt in from outside. There was another reason as well. It was a sign of respect for another person and that person's space. This is very similar, Esther points out, to the traditional monastic practice of statio, which respects the threshold moment of moving from one task to another. I remember years ago when I was on a retreat at a Benedictine community. During the time allotted for work, I was given the task of trimming these huge rosemary bushes, trees really, on either side of the door to the chapel. And I was just about finished when the bell rang for calling us to the next daily office. There was a monk going past, and he looked over and waved and said, "It's time for prayer." And I said, "I'll be right there, I'm almost finished." And he walked over to me, smiling, and he said, "Just leave it. You can finish it later, or somebody else will. This isn't the time for trimming rosemary. This is the time for prayer." You see, it was a time to move from one task to another, pausing on the threshold to appreciate and respect both. I remember another retreat in another Benedictine community. When guests entered the Abbey Church for the daily offices, we always stood on the threshold and waited. And in a few moments, a monk would come up to us and invite us to join the community in prayer. That moment of stillness allowed us to prepare ourselves for what was to come next, to let go of whatever we had been doing so as to be more available for the present task. So one of these days, things will go back to normal, some kind of normal. But I hope that I don't go back to rushing from one thing to another. Oh, if I did, I might save a few moments for the task at hand, or I might get a little more done by the end of the day, but I think I would lose something as well. I would lose an appreciation of endings and beginnings, of special times and places for each appointed task, and a reverence for the work that God has given us to do. These are very different days we are living in. I hope at least that they have given you a chance to think about what the future might be like on the other side of whatever threshold it is you're about to cross. God bless you.